video, we'll be looking at the growth of modern nationalism, or the era of the rise of nationalism. So, in this video, we'll be looking at the factors of the growth of modern nationalism. That was the political, administrative, and economic unification of the country. Then the growth of Western thought and education, then the role of literature and press and contemporary events worldwide, then rediscovery of the rich past and heritage of India, then the rise of middle class intelligentsia, then the progressive character of socio-religious reform movement, and the reactionary policies and racial arrogance of the rulers. Basically, the British were inferior, treated Indians as inferior to them, then and understanding contradictions in Indian and colonial interests. So these are some of the factors that led to the growth of modern day nationalism and political associations before the Indian National Congress. So INC के पहले वो किन किन associations थे, that we are going to discuss in this topic mainly. So the political associations in Bengal, we have Banga Bhasha Prakashika Sabha. So it was founded in 1836 by associates of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. The objective of the organization was to promote Bengali education by the means of polemics and build up public opinion. Then Zamindari Association, it marked beginning of mass movement in India. It was formed for protection of landlords. Famously came to be known as the landlord society. So landlord society was basically the Zamindari Association there. Okay. Then Bengal British India Society. It was founded in 1843 in Calcutta for collection of information regarding actual conditions of people in India, and it was an anti-zamindari organization. It sent petitions for employment of Indians in public offices and judicial reforms. Then British India Association resulted from the merger of Zamindari Association and Bengal British India Association. It sent suggestions for Charter Act of 1853, separate legislature of popular character, and separation of judicial and executive, reduction in salaries of higher officers, abolition of sati duty, Akbari, etc. So what happened? British India Association, it resulted in the merger of Zamindari Association over here and the Bengal British India Association. So these two combined to form the British India Association. So what happened? For Charter Act of 1853, they sent suggestions. So what were the suggestions? Suggestions was कि वो separate legislature of popular character was there, then separation of judicial and executive, and reduction in salaries of higher officers, then abolition of sati duty, Akbari. Okay, so this resulted in the addition of 6 new members in the Governor General's Council for legislative purpose. So their efforts, this led to the introduction of 6 new members into the Legislative Council of the Governor. So then East India Association was organized by Dadabhai Naoroji in 1866 in London to influence the public figures of London for the promotion of Indian welfare and discuss Indian question. Its branches were later organized in prominent Indian cities. Then the Indian League started by Sisir Kumar Ghosh in 1875 for stimulating nationalism and encouraging political education. Then Indian Association of Calcutta was founded in 1876, superseding Indian League by Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose. Okay, it was founded in 1876, superseding Indian League by Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose. The objective: create strong public opinion on political question, unification of Indians on common political ground, found based on pro-landlord and conservative policies of British India Association. Okay, so these were actually formed on the basis of pro-landlord and conservative policies of British India Association, which we discussed in the previous slide. Okay, so it also aimed at creating a strong public opinion on political question, and also the unification of Indians on a common political goal. But it was limited to Calcutta. So after Calcutta, now we will be looking at what were the political associations of Bombay. So Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, it was started by M.G. Ranade in 1870. The other key members who helped in its formation were Bhavan Rao, Srinivas Rao, Pandit Pratinidhi, ruler of the Awadh state, who was also the organization's first president. Ganesh Vasudev Joshi, S.H. Chipinkar. The objective was meant to serve as a link between people and the government. Then the Bombay Presidency Association, it was founded by Firoz Shah Mehta, Bahruddin Tyabji and K.T. Telang. It pioneered in Indian interest and hosted the first meeting of the Indian National Congress in Bombay in 1885. Then Madras Mahajan Sabha, founded in 1884 by M. Veera Raghavachari, B. Subramanya Iyer, and P. Ananda Charlo. Okay, so pre-conquest campaigns. So we'll be looking at the pre-conquest campaigns. Campaigns were organized since 1875 for the imposition of cotton import duties. Okay, cotton was imported, so it was imported in such a manner that it had no import duty. Okay, so it was flooding. The British goods were flooding the Indian markets, and what happened is that Indian goods, on the other hand, it was largely affected. So, the imposition of cotton import duty to protect the interests of the indigenous cotton textile industry for indigenization of garment services. For indigenization of garment services from 1878 to 1879, Indians had opposed the Afghan adventure of Lord Lytton and then compelled the British government to contribute towards the cost of the Second Afghan War. In 1878, major campaigns started against Arms Act of 1878, which tried disarming Indians, and against Vernacular Press Act of 1878, which tried to control Indian press. Then Vernacular Press Act was later repealed by Lord Ripon. So Vernacular Press Act, which came under Lytton, it also affected it, and also the Arms Act, which also came under Lord Lytton. These also created a campaign, and it was removed by Lord Ripon in 1881. So Indians agitated for the right to join semi-military volunteer corps in 1885, which was restricted to Europeans. They also organized campaigns in Britain appealing voters to vote for pro-India leaders. Uh, so Indians agitated for right to join semi-military volunteer corps in 1885, which was restricted to Europeans. Okay. They also organized campaigns in Britain appealing voters to vote for. So what happened? They went and protested in England, and also they made the public aware that they should vote for pro-India leaders. So in 1881 to 1882, they had organized a protest against plantation labor and the Inland Immigration Act, which condemned reducing plantation laborers to serfdom. All India Fund for Political Association agitations were raised in 1883 for that, as it would have allowed funding Indian campaigns in India as well as England. So, in support of Ilbert Bill by Lord Ripon, as it would have, so next is support for Ilbert Bill by Lord Ripon, as it would have allowed the Indian magistrates to try Europeans in the court of law. This bill was repealed by the legislature. So, what happened? In 1888, they had organized a protest against the plantation labor and the Inland Immigration Act, which condemned reducing plantation labor. So, plantation laborers were made as mere serfs, and the British were treated as lords. Okay, serfs and serfdom is basically, okay, they had to do. Serfs were actually treated as slaves, not actually slaves, but we can say they are slaves in such a manner that they had no proper wages, but they had to do their work for their lords. So, in such a manner, the Indian laborers or plantation laborers were made to do serfdom. Okay. All India Fund for Political Association agitations were raised in 18. Next is All India Fund for Political Association. Agitations were raised in 1883. For that, it would have allowed funding Indian campaigns in India as well as in England. So next is in support of Ilbert Bill by Lord Ripon, as well would have allowed Indian magistrates. So Ilbert Bill, okay, वो bill में what was the thing is that it, it was like Europeans, they could be trialed. The judge who took up their case was, he could be Indian. Okay, this naturally they didn't allow, but Ripon as such, he was a uh, good governor general. He actually made this possible. Actually, he made a bill, supported the bill. So Indians also supported the bill, but the legislature repealed the bill. Okay, and next is against the reduction in maximum age in civil services from a reduction of age. So Lord Lytton, he actually did is that he reduced the age of the Indian civil service from 23 to 19. Okay, he reduced it from 23 to 19, and he made it in such a manner that they all had to attend it in England. Okay, so it was naturally not possible. So the first one, even with that, Surendranath Banerjee was the first guy to get into ICS, Indian Civil Service. Okay, and he went and wrote in England, and he passed it, and he came back. Okay, so but once Ripon came, Lord Ripon came, he again increased it to age 23, and he also made it open to Indians, and he also made it in possible in such a manner that they could write the exams in India also. Okay, so it was, so this is the point against the reduction in maximum age in civil services, promulgated reduction of age under Lord Lytton. So Indian civil service agitation led by Indian Association under Surendranath Banerjee. Okay, so that's it, guys, for pre-congress movements in different parts of the country. I hope today's lecture was productive for you guys, even though in some areas you may find it lagging. I have repeated that topics as well. So I hope today's lecture was actually productive for you guys. Until we meet again, God bless you all. Jai Hind.